the deepest noise I've ever made. It was like, raw, like just, nothing came out though. It was like, spiritually though, that gremlin and all that negativity took that and it threw, I saw it like they took it all the way back to like the Big Bang. It went through space to the beginning of time.
You are now watching The Chris LaBelle Show.
All right, guys, welcome to episode 20 For Whom LaBelle Tolls. I just realized 20 episodes in, I have no idea why I have this boom mic. It makes no sense. It covers my body. And there's not a lot of body to cover. I'm 5'7". This table takes 45% of my height. This chair, dependent if I up it, like look at this. I'm a growing man, okay? I'm a growing man, and this is the lifestyle I have to be in, okay? When I go and meet somebody at a restaurant, right, and people are probably going, well, dude, you're not vaxxed. How are you going to restaurants? Well, that's very simple. The rapid testing, 72 hours. People have been in my DMs like, dude, how are you getting in? Dude, how are you surviving? How are you going places? It's good for 3 days. You get 2 a week. That's all. But the QR codes are coming. And my passport that I created, Photoshop that says Cougar Steve, probably won't be any good anymore. And I love how when they announced the QR code, right at Alberta. You see that news? They just were like, Alberta, QR code, cannot be counterfeited, like your other passport. That was really cool. I have to say, I like Jason Kenney. You're a great premier. I know exactly what you did. I would say that your government knew that putting that PDF file of a blank passport on Google, you kind of left it to our discretion in Alberta to do what we had to do. That was very rebellious of you. But now we have to get a QR code in 30 days, by November 30th. And that's my birthday, by the way. You're the dragon. I'll be 46 years old. You know, it's been a long 2 years. And I mean, I've said it before. I don't care what you decided to do, you know, whether you got it or you didn't, I don't care. But the suppression of our freedoms is really starting to get to my head. I love to perform. I love to be free and just be on stage and just become animated and just no filters and say whatever comes across my mind and just be who I want to be. I don't like to think about the consequences of what I say may offend or not offend. Like Dave Chappelle right now is under fire, a lot of fire for his special. I watched it, and compared to comedy from 10 years ago, man, I didn't really find it all that offensive. In fact, Netflix employees, in regards to his transgender comments in his special, are now preparing to walk off the job because of it. And I feel like that might be excessive. I think Dave Chappelle's definitely led by example, that he's a great leader. He's considered to be a prophet in comedy. He's broken so many barriers. He's done so many things for so many people. He's motivated hundreds, thousands of people to aspire to become a comic. And they probably all quit by now because they realize there's absolutely no fucking money in comedy. So you have to have a full-time job. You know, you think that this comic life, this artist life is great. You don't have a fucking clue. And also, if you did 3 open mics, can you take down the status of comedian under your name? You're not a comic. Public figure? What the fuck have you done publicly? I'm not saying comics. I'm saying other people. Public figure? How are you a fucking public figure? Because people know you at your coffee shop, so it makes you a public figure? Have you ever filled a venue? Have you ever sold out anything? Have you been on TV? Are you in movies? Then you're not a fucking public figure. It's just a fact. I'm an influencer. What the fuck do you influence? Who's your following? You have 300,000 TikTok followers? Okay, well, for fucking $50, so can I, right? I can tell 100,000 people are following you on Instagram, but you have 800 likes. Give me a fucking break. Where's everybody else? Also, be wary of what you post online. Bill C-10 is almost at its point where it's going to become a law. Here in Canada, that means the Canadian government can definitely go into your social media and they can go back in history and search your browsers. They can go back to posts that you made, inboxes, DMs, messages, Twitter, you name it, shit that you didn't even know existed, they're gonna find. They could use it against you. They can delete things. They can just shut down your entire social media platform. And right now, with no public gatherings and travel or social activities, no one's going to know you exist. Well, I'm 46 years old. I'm kind of in like that older uncle, grandpa phase where I'm kind of like slightly demented. So I can kind of say what I want and be what I want. I've also been stand-up comic for over 10 years. So it's given me that platform to kind of be free and express. It's not my following that seems to be perturbed at my content, which, by the way, I've cleaned up the last 2 months. It's all about positivity and community. But it's the algorithms. anything that you say that goes against the grain here in Canada, they will shadow ban you, even if it's for a couple hours. I've had the scrutiny of the public and the media and the press after me more than enough times. I've been banned from comedy clubs. I've been banned from bars, public events. I'm not allowed in certain places, not based on my behavior, just based on public opinion. If 90% of the people love me, which I think is even more, that 5% is enough to bury you. That's the unfortunate part of today's society. When people have conflict, they don't address the conflict. They do this, and they record you. They leave you a bad Google review, right? Nobody's prepared for conflict, and nobody's ready for it. Speaking of comedy, I have a very special guest for you. In fact, we had Sterling Scott last week on the show. Now, we have another comedian on the show, another comic that I came up with. Him and I started at the exact same time. Unfortunately for me, the trajectory of my career didn't go quite as pleasant as my friend Chris Griffin's did. Chris has been on Just for Laughs. He's now a touring headliner and a comedian that had a full-time corporate job this entire time. And that's a great idea. If you plan on being in the arts, make sure you plan to pay your bills because no one's going to pay them for you. And when you're couch surfing at 46 years old, you might want to really evaluate those life choices. God rest Andrew Albert. However, today in the studio at Alavanca, we have my boy, comedian superstar here in Canada, Mr. Chris Griffin.
Oh, shit.
It's crazy though. Like this close to another man, and like when it's a handsome man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because your eyes are like nuts, bro.
Same, dude.
Yeah, same.
But it's funny when you do acting, like camera acting, and you're like this even closer, like in a scene. But now I realize it in movies. I'm like, oh.
I wore makeup just for you.
Oh shit, I did not.
Yeah, I didn't want to have any. I wanted to mattify my skin so it had any shine, because I knew that you would come in curly hair.
I'd be shiny though.
Yeah, you gotta be
pale and shiny.
You didn't even come with a shirt on. I think you're the first guy to wear a muscle shirt.
Yeah, dude. I thought this was just LaBelle podcast.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna wear a shirt.
Yeah, I get amped up. Don't worry. I start off nice and calm and just do my thing. Make sure the mics are good. So you guys, I'm really proud to introduce you to my friend Chris Griffin. Chris and I have been working as comedians for over 10 years. Chris is are you born in Calgary?
Yep, born and raised.
Born and raised in Calgary. The man started off at an open mic like we all did. Now you've done Just for Laughs. You've worked in, obviously, the States a few times, or no?
Well, you're not allowed to say.
You can't. I can't say that. It's happened to me. That's why I got fucking jammed up in the States. But yeah, aside from just Winnipeg Comedy Festival.
No, I haven't done that one.
No?
I played Winnipeg.
You played Winnipeg at Rumors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm doing Rumors this New Year's Eve.
Oh, nice. I'm banned from there, too.
Oh, well, man.
No surprise. Yeah, apparently what I did was I said that I'd fill them up for the whole time I'm there. I worked with Ron Jossel.
Oh, yeah.
And I told Tyler, I was like, dude, I'm from Winnipeg, and people will come out in droves. He's like, okay, held me to it. And guess what? There were droves. There was like well over 200 people. Name me over a 7-day or 5-day span.
Right.
I'm like, that's like 20, 30 people, 40 people a night, man. That's pretty good. Nope. Never. Nope. I got video of it too. I made a vlog. I remember I made a vlog about it. Yeah. It was tough.
So he wasn't happy with the turnout.
He wasn't happy with the turnout. It was, yeah, that's where I met my life partner. So,
oh, dang.
So I met her. Yeah.
Well, maybe there's a silver lining there.
There is a silver lining. That's where my white hair came from as well. But yeah, man, that's a nice club though. That's a nice club. So
I hope we just keep naming clubs and you're like, yeah, banned from there.
Comedy Cave in Calgary. Banned from all
Just
3
played
clubs.
that
Yeah,
2
pretty.
weeks ago.
You got there?
I just played that 2 weeks ago.
Jack's nuts.
Yeah.
In a good way though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like
it was
Billy.
Billy though. It was Billy.
Billy Bandy.
Billy. Yeah, Billy.
Damn.
Billy got me. Billy got
I'm
me.
doing Laugh Shop this weekend. Are you?
I'm good. I'm okay with Matt. He just doesn't book me.
Oh, shit.
And I guess same thing as Yucks right now. Like, I know I have my little stance about, as you know, what's happening, and doesn't really align well with the club. And
Oh yeah, you're not.
so,
yeah.
but I could still perform. I can get the pass, like the rapid
Exemption?
test. Yeah, I'm trying for the exemption.
You
I
can
talked
get
to my
the
doctor
test.
about it. It was fucking hilarious. I come in with Dominic, and I guess maybe the way I marched into his office, it's like he knew. It's like he knew what I wanted. And I sat down, and I'm like, you know why I'm here. He's like, Chris, and I'm like, Dominic and I need an exemption. We have asthma. I have diverticulitis. I'm on steroids. And literally, he's like, Chris, it's not going to happen. And I'm like, okay, what about a mask exemption? Nope, not gonna happen. I'm like, come on, man.
He's like, you're banned from the doctor's
Yeah.
office.
You're banned from the doctor's office.
That's good. Yeah, I just got my friend to do my vaxes.
How so?
Yeah, at a house, just like, because I don't trust the science 100% of the government, so just like kind of made them. It's based off real ones, but yeah, I don't know.
Plant-based?
Yeah, it's like, well, it's like mixed. I think it's the best of everything, so I feel great.
Yeah?
Yeah, but when I registered on the app, didn't go through.
Didn't
It's
go
like,
through?
Shit, so I got to work around that. But so I went and got a couple of the government ones.
Did you get it in Calgary's Northeast? Or
No, this is
in
in
Vancouver?
Vancouver. Yeah, my friend Rick.
Chris lives in Vancouver. He's left Calgary, what's been 5 years now?
8.
8 years?
Yeah.
Listen, if my stats are slightly off, I still think it's pretty good that I know he's been gone for over 5, okay?
Yeah.
And he's got the JFL fucking credit. That is like having the American, it's like the visa. It's like having a fucking, like the black visa, like the #1 visa, right? The JFL credit in comedy.
Yeah.
You got that? That's the door opener. Just for laughs. Oh my.
Yeah, I haven't done Just for Laughs.
You haven't done Just for Laughs either?
Well, I did the Northwest one.
That's JFL.
Yeah,
the
that
fucking
counts.
logo's on it. Yeah, you get that.
Yeah.
That's good.
Done that 5 times.
I had my first headlining gig at Cowboys Casino, must have been 10 years ago now, and Chris was my my spot. You were on the show.
Yeah.
You were the opening spot.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
Was
'cause then-
Sterling on that show, too?
No,
No?
it was me, you, and Aurelio.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah,
He was great.
he was great. He's never been back to
forever.
Canada since, but
Sterling did your first one ever, though, right?
Sterling was on the
Simon
first one
and
ever.
Gordon.
Yeah, those were my Full House comedy.
That was wild.
Yeah, I pretty much was like, hey, I'm a headliner. Everyone's like, no, you're not. And I'm like, I'll do my own shows.
Yeah. And then you banned yourself.
Banned myself.
I served chicken wings that first show. Do you remember that?
You served, yeah.
Because it was so busy. You're like,
Where,
"Do
at
you wanna-"
Cowboys?
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
like, do you want to grab? Then I wore a blazer.
Yeah, you did. You were dressed up. I had eyeliner on.
Oh, did you?
I had eyeliner on. I don't know why I wanted to look like fucking Chris Angel, but I had eyeliner on. I got I have photos of us. I have eyeliner.
Yeah, you're the
I
king
painted
of-
my nails black.
Oh, yeah. You reinvent yourself a lot.
Yeah, I do
I'll
that.
see you, and you're like, I'm a painter now. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Very good at picking up skills.
I do. It's the ADHD.
Oh yeah, that's weird too, because they didn't used to not diagnose that at all, and then so many people just lived 20, 30, 40 years of their lives oblivious, and then now it's like retroactively, you're like, oh man, this was a struggle. And
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I hope they continue to do things to use those skills to your benefit instead of trying to
100%.
pigeonhole you into things that don't work, right?
Yeah, I'm 70% good at everything.
Yeah, but that's
Pretty
all
much.
it takes. If
Yeah.
you're 70% good, you're better than 85% of the people.
Is that how the Vax works too?
I hope
Your
so,
homemade
man.
one?
Yeah, I know. It's coursing through. Well, I got Cambo too. Do you know that? Where they burn it and they put the poisonous frog in.
No.
Reset you. Yeah, if you get sick, COVID, listeners out there, you get COVID, Cambo. It's a poisonous frog.
How do you spell that?
Kambo.
Okay.
Down in Peru, yeah.
Yeah, you're in Peru?
Yeah.
Damn, bro.
Yeah. Just
Kept
got
that on a
back
DL.
last month. Yeah, I kind of went
Off the grid.
full off the grid. No
shit.
electricity, no running water.
How long were you in Peru?
I did a 8-day retreat down there.
What'd you do?
Yeah, it was just an ayahuasca thing. So I went into Iquitos, which is like the entry to the Amazon rainforest thing, and just 45-minute drive into the rainforest, 45-minute hike. Same one newer kid I went to.
Oh, no
That
way.
dude, yeah, and Carrie Younger. So yeah, just backpack in, nobody. But I went on a weird week. It was just me, the shaman, one other dude, Don Juan, who runs a meditation studio. He's about 60-year-old, is maybe 55, long gray ponytail hair guy, cool guy in Cuba, but nobody spoke English, just me. So then it was totally like having to detox from like the internet, electricity, cell phones, and speech.
Speech.
Yeah, because nobody could talk. I couldn't speak Spanish.
So you just silence.
Yeah, a lot of silence. Then I've never meditated. You're probably a meditation
I've
guy.
been meditating, yeah.
Yeah, it's helpful. I'm back. I'm on that.
Nice.
Vibe now. Yeah, I went
Nice.
and had to learn that and just the stillness of mind. There's all these books, and that was the only thing to do was read. So I was just crushing books.
Where,
and
in the
meditation.
jungle?
Yeah, they had a bookshelf, just like a tiny bookshelf in the jungle.
Were you like a tent or something?
I was in like, they have a hut, which is like a
Hut.
bed in it.
Yeah.
And then there's there's no door, it's just a area with 2 walls. There's a toilet, and then there's a big bucket of water, and then you just scoop a little bucket when you're done and pour it in, and it flushes it. So it's like manual kind of running water. Yeah.
That's cool.
And just like a bed with a mosquito net. So.
Was it
yeah.
mosquitoes bad or no?
No, I went a good time of year, so
Yeah.
I didn't have to use mosquito repellent. Yeah, I think they would like bite my feet when I ate dinner. They had like a table outside. I think that was the only time. And then, but yeah, there's like spiders, scorpions. I saw.
Did you see anything?
Yeah. All
No.
sorts of stuff. Yeah.
I would have died.
I would
The scorpion. Tell me about your scorpion experience.
Man, it kind of fits into the ayahuasca trips on those things. I did 3 ceremonies of that, right? You're familiar with ayahuasca?
A bit, yeah.
Are you
Through
gonna do
Newer.
it?
Yeah.
You should. I think you'd benefit a lot from it.
Thanks.
Like, serious. I think everyone should. I'm not just saying, yeah.
If anybody's got some ayahuasca in Calgary, I'll take it. Let's go. DMT, ayahuasca, whatever you got, I'm going to do it. But I don't feel like talking this episode. I want to hear, I'm going to ask a couple questions. Like, I don't know. I've never really seen a scorpion. I don't know about the snakes and spiders. Ayahuasca. I want to hear about your journey. So this is great. We could talk comedy, but it's all we've done is comedy. Well, you know, he lives in Vancouver. It's a nice place. Like, he's from Calgary. He's from the northeast of Calgary. But ayahuasca, Peru, no electricity. Yeah. Tell me about like the plane. Where were you? Did you leave from Vancouver? Like, tell me about the experience.
Flew Vancouver to LAX to Lima to Iquitos. That took about 24 hours with stopovers and stuff. The COVID thing's a jam up, obviously, so you got to get your test, make sure you're vaccinated.
Did they hassle you, or was it pretty quick?
It was. There's a declaration thing you have to make sure you fill out. So it was just that. Like, do you have your test? I did the PCR because it's good for 72 hours, so that if your flight gets canceled or something. Then I did the antigen one on the way back, and my flight did get canceled. So by the time I got there, it was no good in LAX. So that's a lesson. PCR is probably more expensive, but worth it. But yeah, just flew and didn't know anything. Didn't even ask Newer about it. I was just like, hey man, you know it's safe because he lived, right? But I think he went like 5 years ago.
Changed his life.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a new dude.
Yeah, and for some
100%.
people did. So yeah, I just had my backpack, gone into the forest.
What'd you pack?
I packed too much. I think. Yeah. I had but I bought like a laptop, like a iPad kind of thing, and all that's because I was just, make sure I wasn't bored. But then when I got out there, I was like, no, don't. The only thing I use is my laptop to write because I can't write by hand anymore. Forgot how to do that. So yeah, it's too messy. Yeah. So I just was typing, but that's it. I just like a couple hours a day type on my thing, and no chargers. So if it dies, it dies.
Yeah.
But yeah, just went up. But yeah, packed. They were making fun of me the whole time at the big ass like backpack. I brought like sweaters. It was like 26 degrees at night.
Yeah.
So if anyone goes and you go in September, October to Peru, it's 3 pairs of swimming trunks or bikini if you're whatever you want, and then 3 tank tops. You're good. That's it. Just bathe in the river every day.
What didn't you pack that you regret not bringing?
Yeah, I think like a flashlight's really important because it gets pitch black at 6, right?
Yeah.
6:15. So I brought like a little LED one, but it might have been nice to have something a bit better. Then you can you have candles, but just to get set up in your hut and watch out for spiders and stuff is probably good to get that.
So was spiders something?
Yeah, I mean there's some hairy tarantula
no way.
things. Oh yeah.
Around, just there.
There was one in my hut, but then the shamanita, there was a shaman and his wife, and she was like, oh, they're all coming to visit and say hi. So I was like, okay, hello friends. I'm terrified of you, but
they didn't do anything?
No, they're good. Yeah. So it was I kind of got in.
How big? I'm Canadian. I've never seen a tarantula. Yeah. I've seen it like
I don't even know if this is a tarantula, but I got a video of it.
It was
Look
big.
on my Instagram. Yeah, it's like as big as my hand. And it was just moved slow, right? But it was on the wall.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And what was your first as a comedian? Like, what was your first oh God?
I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, how is 10 years too long for a midlife crisis? That was my thought. But yeah, you're just out, like, you're in the jungle, right? So I had those thoughts a lot. But, I'd be like, dude, what are you doing right now? Like, why are you here? But then I also would counter that and be like, dude, this is great. Like, you're in the Amazon. Because I booked the trip. I just wrote the guy. And I was like, hey, I'd like to come this week. And he's like, I warn you, your spot is reserved. And then I was like, okay, I got to make this happen. And I just booked all the stuff around it. Worked out with work, worked out with everything. And then, but the thought of being there, I couldn't, envision myself there. I was like, you'll just be there one day. Hopefully it all works out. And then, one day you're walking through the gates. You're like, all right, I made it here.
Gates?
Yeah, there's like a wooden thing that you walk in. So into like a retreat. Yeah, and it's like all these wooden bridges. And then, you have your little personal hut. So it's just you once you get in the hut. The door locks, there's like mesh around it. So, but I mean, then there's like gaps under the door that anything can get in. But you're mostly in there, chill. But lots of bugs in there. Yeah.
Lots of bugs.
But you got a mosquito net.
I'm a bug guy. Like I'm scared of bugs. So
yeah, I'm not a huge fan. But the once I was out there, I think I just took it in. I'm like, I'm going to take this earnestly. And the Juan, meditation dude, he was very serious about meditation. And when he would do the ceremonies, so I just mimicked him. But he was taking it very serious. So I'm like, okay, I'm out here. I'm not going to. 10 years ago, I'd have been like, this is dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I was like, this is good. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to try to genuinely do those things, like stillness of mind. I did all the diet, laid off the booze 3 or 2 months before going out. caffeine 6 months.
6 months, no caffeine?
Yeah.
Why?
Just because I just thought like, like some nights I'd be up kind of like spinning my thoughts, and I just wanted to see what normal brain was. And it did help a lot. I did the caffeine before I even thought of ayahuasca, but I stuck with it after that. So yeah, I just noticed at night now I just go to sleep.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And you know me, I'm a coffee drinker.
I know.
I live in analog.
Yeah, it was my whole Red Bulls, the whole thing. I was just smashing those. So
No way.
Yeah, so I went nothing, and it was like 3 months or 3 weeks of kind of misery.
Yeah.
And then
So you're caffeine free?
Yeah.
Not just like this is great.
Yeah.
I love this. This is fun. So you cut out caffeine.
Yeah.
And you've noticed a physical, mental, and spiritual change in you?
Yeah, I think that was before. I mean, I always had ayahuasca in the back of my mind, so I knew
Yeah.
I was gearing up for that. And I'm like, okay, but caffeine was just a personal choice.
Yeah.
But it was mostly like the anxiety and the kind of unnecessary, inner monologue of self-doubt at night, of worrying, panicking. But I'm like, man, life's fine. Like you're working, you're doing things. I always want to do better, and there's always, I'm sure you have that too, where it's like you're pushing yourself. But it was too much.
It's about as good as it gets.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, for a guy unvaxxed in 2021 right now in Canada, it's about as good as it gets.
Yeah.
Man, this is dope. I'm excited. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
maybe you're the only one that lives all the vaccines and.
I would be the one, though.
In the year, yeah.
I
You're
would
just
be.
alive and
Chris
like
LaBelle would survive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
I know.
yelling somewhere on some mountaintop. Fuck.
Yeah.
No likes, no affirmations on my social media, so I stopped roaring. I stopped hiking altogether.
Oh yeah, nobody would be
know.
pumping you up.
Yeah, so if no one knows
if
I'm
I was
hiking.
still alive, I'd do the one like.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, but yeah, I remember we did a gig together, and you're in the hotel room next door, and it was just the walls were rattling. You're like, "Roar!" And I was like, hey man, you all right? You're like, yeah, dude, getting in the zone, you? And then I was like, fuck is this guy doing? I was like, LaBelle, write some jokes. Stop roaring. No, I'm just joking.
No, you're not.
No.
No, you're not. Meanwhile, LK Visual's like, he's like, yeah, write some scripts. Show up to set. I got everything. He goes, it's in your brain again. I'm like, so what? It's gonna work out. Fuck. LK gets it.
Yeah, you usually pull it off.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, but if we ever do a movie, I'm like, don't worry, I'll have a script. I won't have a script.
No.
I'm just gonna show up like Scorsese, just ready to go.
Okay. Yeah, if I write a film, I'll just LaBelle, and it's just Phil, ...
You gotta know these lines. What lines?
I know.
Yeah.
I don't have lines. Improv.
Yeah. Spritz.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah, okay, so then...
This is exciting. I'm
yeah,
so
so you
pumped.
go to jail. I mean...
Jail?
Yeah. That's the wrong story, yeah. You go in the jungle, and then you walk in, you got your backpack. So I had, way too much shit. Didn't need all that stuff. But just hiking boots, and even that you don't really need. And then a pair, I wish I brought... Everyone was wearing Crocs. I was like, man, I should have got Crocs. There's a family that lives on the thing and does your cooking and stuff too. So you get 3 meals, like 8, 1, and 5. But you don't eat dinner on the ayahuasca night because you're doing the ceremony. Yeah, and then they show up, and I remember walking in because it's a 45-minute hike. So
Nice.
the cab pulls over, and he's like, oh, this guy will walk you, pay the cab. The guy didn't even say a word to me, just kind of looks at me and starts walking. So I'm like, okay, just follow him, and then I walked. There's a guy walking by. He's just got like, machete. He's an older guy, no teeth, and he's kind of. And I'm like, what am I into, man? But then, like, the next day, I'm like, oh, this is a nice old man that goes and cuts trees. And, so I was right away kind of confronted with, like, my preconceptions of the world and, like, being scared. Like, oh, is somebody going to steal my laptop? Like, who gives a shit, about that when you're in there, right?
Yeah.
And also, it's just a family, and it's a healing center. So that was kind of, I noticed those thoughts right away. And I was like, dude, it took me probably 24 hours to unplug from everything. And, even I just... those phantom phone vibrates or like looking at it and like, oh man, and I'm like, you can't, there's nothing there. So the first night, I kind of just like sat awake and was like, all right, this is your life. And then, once I let go of that was sort of the first step before even the first ceremony. And then we went, and the shaman Percy, his wife's there. He said she could see the spirits.
Was she wearing Crocs?
She was, yeah. Everyone's just Crocs. No, she had flip-flops, but the other guys had Crocs. But I guess I had like these like material shoes that slide on things, but I guess you don't want those because you do, but you have to check them for spiders, and they didn't tell me till the last day. He was like, oh, always shake your shoes. I was like, oh man, like, so maybe with Crocs you could see in the hole if they're there. I've never had a pair, but
I've never worn Crocs.
No, neither have I.
Or flip-flops.
Oh, flip-flops, yeah. Flip-flops I used to wear, but then, and people that hate feet, like Marhaj hates feet, he's like, dude, it's gross. I was like, you're insane. But then...
aside from feet,
yeah,
you and I both have studied and follow a certain lifestyle.
Right.
And if you're wearing flip-flops, what if...
Right, yeah.
What?
Oh, if you have to get in a fight?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's why I don't wear flip-flops. Grew up in Thunder Bay.
Right.
And every time anyone I knew that was a lick of spit for fucking toughness, if he had flip-flops on, he lost. Everyone I know who ever had flip-flops on, they lose fights. And I remember just like, I remember, man, my dad saying, don't ever wear those fucking toes out in the wear. Fucking, if someone stomps your foot, you're fucked. And I remember like my dad, his 3 main advice as a kid was don't piss in the wind, don't eat yellow snow, and don't blow ashtrays. Don't blow in an ashtray.
Oh my God.
And don't wear fucking flip-flops.
Yeah.
So
my dad didn't give me much, like those advice. I wish he did.
Yeah?
Those tips, yeah.
But
flip-flops because I also don't like hot feet. But then now, yeah.
Would you wear like hiking boots? Like Alberta hiking boots?
I mean, I wore hiking boots that was my first pair as well. Because
No
I went on
way.
a hike with Ephemius, our buddy.
Yeah.
6'4" giant Greek.
Greek god.
Yeah, and we went to the top of a volcano in BC.
Wow.
And I did it in running shoes. By the end, my feet are just bleeding. I had to throw the shoes out. I ripped through them. So now I've got hiking boots.
So when you visit next, you're going to bring them.
Yeah. And
'Cause
we
I'll
did
take
a
you
hike
snowshoeing.
this Sunday. Yeah, that's the next level. And I had hiking boots. But yeah, so I was in my boots, backpack, go in. Then you do these ceremonies where they kind of, it's like they're blowing cigar stuff on you, the shaman, but it's to know your intentions. You're supposed to go in with your intentions. So I kind of went in with like how to be a better person, how to be, a great husband, how do I be a good comic. But it was pretty general because I learned if you go in with ayahuasca, it's going to tell you something you're not ready, something you don't expect, but what you need. It's going to tell you what you need to know. Maybe it is in alignment with your intentions. So I went in with that, but mostly I was like, I just feel like I should be here. And that was good. And then he did the ceremony, which I took earnestly. You say your 3 intentions and you blow smoke, and then his cigar thing kind of bent, and he was like, oh, your chakras aren't aligned, because we needed it for Juan, the other guy was like perfectly straight.
Meditation guy.
Yeah, so then I went, and he's like, yeah, you gotta open them up. He's like, these chakras, he's like, you gotta get, this one, and, whatever, top of the head here, neck, I don't know what I didn't know at the time anything, so I was reading books on the chakras, meditating, stillness of mind. So I went in the first ceremony pretty excited, a little nervous, and but he's like, we'll give you just a smaller dose, so it's not, just to see how it is.
Trip balls.
Yeah, but I want to be like, dude, full dose, let's go all in. But then I was like, all right, this guy knows what he's doing. He's been a shaman for his entire life. I think he went in the jungle at 14. That's part of it. You just go in and you have to live for 30 days on
Like
nothing.
Leonidas.
Yeah. Just walk out there.
Nice.
And 14, and he figured that out, which I would have died first day. Even now at 40, not you though.
Yeah.
Dude, you could live a year out there.
Yeah, except for the tarantulas and scorpions and mosquitoes.
Yeah, and COVID.
And COVID.
So we take the ayahuasca. He does a ceremony. His wife does beautiful. Set you all up. And then you take the shot, and I kind of lay back, and you're waiting for it to happen. It's quicker than like mushrooms or anything like that. About 20 minutes. You can kind of see that it's like you're in the big ceremonial hut, and usually he has like 8 to 12 people, so your mat's all around the edges.
Yeah.
But it was just me and Juan, so he pulled us right up front, and it was his birthday Tuesday, so this was the Monday. So I don't know, maybe he was in a good mood, but we're right up front, and I kind of start seeing like mild visuals. I'm like, okay, here we go, and then he starts playing, like he sings, he plays guitar, and right away everything, like I see these kind of Aztec-y symbols kind of just coursing through, and it's like almost to the music, and I was like, oh, here we go. Then I lean back, and I kind of see Mother Ayahuasca, which is, God, and I think manifested in this. And the feminine thing's really interesting, because most people do see that, but they say it's, like that's where life comes from. It's like that very like motherly sense of life and like Gaia, I don't know, that type of vibe I'm getting. And going into this, I was, I've always had like a spiritual, like, do good to people, that kind of mindset.
You make love.
Yeah, I only make love.
That's right.
Yeah.
He only makes love, not sex. He makes love.
Yes.
First thing I learned about you.
Yeah, yes. That's what I'm gonna call my first album. For real. Which is, so like those vibes, do good, and I'm not always the best person, but I find in my times in life where I have been doing well or doing right by others are the times I thrive the most, and same, and I see them thrive in return. Mm-hmm. So that kind of spirituality, but other than that, so I'm like, man, that's crazy. This lady's over there, and she's just kind of like, yeah, I'm just gonna watch for this one, sit back, and then I could see my like throat kind of, which I learned is a chakra there. I think your 5th one open up and like light come out. Whoa. And then these like gecko looking spirit things are like crawling in, and I'm like, man, are these good or bad? And I'm like,
you could see this?
Like your eyes are closed, but yeah, it's like a vision. You're kind of having.
And it feels like it's happening.
Yeah, it feels like it's a vision. So if you open your eyes, it's gone. Like I kind of, there's a few times where I was like, what the hell? And I'd open it, and then you see that, you know, you can kind of trip. If you sit up, you feel even more normal. And then I was like, okay, you know, laid back down, and I was like, all right, I was like, are these people friendly? And sometimes people were kind of giving me like trays with like potions or pills on, but I don't have arms to like in this, when my eyes are closed to take it, but I'm just like, thanks, I don't know. And they're going, but I'm like, is this good or bad? And I start kind of spiraling on my thoughts, and then I could see it like up here, it was like sort of the dark cloud thing hovering over. And, you know, Mother Ayahuasca was like, yeah, we're just checking you out. She's like, oh, I noticed some like negativity, you know, some of these self-doubt and stuff. She's like, it's interesting. Kind of paid, and then sometimes I would go deep into it and be like, man, am I just wasting my money? Like, what am I doing? Am I trying to pretend I'm high right now?
Yeah.
Like, not even happening.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, kind of laying back like that. And then they showed me like, oh, this will impact your life. You can look at yourself and be like, oh, I'm a loser, I'm a piece of shit, everyone hates me. Or you can look at yourself and be like, hey, I'm working hard, I'm a good person, my friends, like, you know, it's the exact same reality. It's just how you look at it. So it was trying to say, you know, look at things positively, and it would show me some things in my life like that. So I'm going, oh, okay. And then they give, you know, Percy comes over at some point, he's like, you having some visions? I'm like, yeah, some mild ones. It wasn't insane.
Yeah.
He's like, you do a second shot, so I did that. Lay back down, and then there's the purge thing where you're gonna puke.
I've heard of that, yeah.
What I was most worried about, or people are like, oh, I've shit my pants, but you're not gonna, if you have to shit your pants, there's 5 toilets like outside the back of it, you're fine. You'll just walk and go do that. You're not gonna be like, or unless you're an idiot. Like there's, but maybe it's different for people, but you're fine. Like you know, and same thing, it was like, and I don't puke, like even when back in our drinking days, when I, you know, like a 2-6 of vodka, I don't get sick. Never in my life have I puked from, like I just don't since I was a kid, it was like the last time I got sick. So I'm telling Mother Ayahuasca, I'm like, I'm not gonna puke, it's not positive. She's like, you're going to, and I was like, no. She's like, you gotta purge. She's like, but this time you're fine. But next ceremony, you're purging. I'm like, okay, deal. Because I could feel it kind of coming up, not sick, but just like, oh, I've gotta purge something. So I kind of like, that goes away, and then I just chill, and then they're like, okay, ceremony over. So I walk out the end of the wooden bridge, kind of like it's on the ground, but little wooden pathway with Juan. Turn to say goodnight to him, and he's glowing like white. I'm like, man, this guy must be a god in this world. So I was like, oh, let's say, hey, Juan, thank you, man. See you tomorrow. And I go back, and then walking, I got my little flashlight, but it's like everything I look at, it's like a movie where it's like, just jumping out. It's like a mermaid, but on land. It's like, and there's birds. Like the Amazon never stops. Like it's 24/7, crazy. Like whoop whoop, bah, bah, bah. Like so. There's one bird always just like ha ha ha. Like but it sounds like spirits when you're high. So it's just constantly kind of this laugh, and I'm like what? It's like just like the jungle's fucking with you. So I run, you know, get in, and I'm like holy shit. And then I kind of like just get under my mosquito net, and just sit there, think about it. And I was like man, that was kind of wild. Wow. Yeah. And I'm like eventually it just kind of all went. I'm like okay, I'm pretty sober now. And I stood up and like you know did like. So just a workout and just like, you know, felt good, slept. Then in the morning you do the cambo, which is the poisonous frog.
Okay.
And then they burn a little hole, like tiny pinprick, and they put the poison. You can feel it right away spread, and your head gets super hot. And then he's like, oh, you should lay down. And you lay down, and you kind of trip, and you feel sick. And I guess if you do 2 or 3 hits, you can really hallucinate, but I was fine with the one.
Really?
Yeah, and I was like, I don't know. I didn't know there was an option to do more than one until the last day, but I'm like, what is the point of this? But then after, you're just like, very tired, your mind, your inner narrative's kind of calmed. So I guess it's just, he always would say it's like tranquil to like relax you, bring you back down, which it did, like evens you right out.
So it was like a downer.
I guess, yeah.
So
like,
the frog was an Ativan.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Even you out. But then it's like, then you do this rape ceremony where it's like a pipe and the shaman blows on one end and it's got 2 on the other, so they put it in your nostril. And it's like a spice, it's different spices or like powders. And I'm like, do I breathe it in? He's like, no, do not breathe in it at all. He's like, just hold your breath. And he blows it in and it kind of goes up your nose, you know, like you say, have you ever done drugs or something like that?
Just
and
a
it
couple.
kind of comes down the back. But your brain just on fire all the way down to your spine. Like,
whoa.
Like, and then I guess it's to open your chakras, he was saying, and it does. Like, you're just like, wow, like it's incredible. So then, you know, it feel awesome. You jump in the river, he does the smoke ceremony, you got your attention. So after the first ceremony, it kind of pointed out like, hey, you know, these negative thoughts. And it was, I didn't realize at the time, but it was like, this is, you know.
Who'd you share your negative thoughts with?
For me, it was just talking with Mother Ayahuasca, which is myself, because I couldn't talk to anyone or explain this. And they, the shamanita, which she said she could see spirits without the ayahuasca, which at a point in my life I would have been like, are you serious? But I know some other people that can do that too, and I, you know, believe in that now, especially just the extra sensitivity,
of course,
to that world or whatever's happening.
Just being an empath in general,
yeah. Which
you are.
I am. Yeah.
We grew up. We basically grew up in the comedy world together, and there's certain comics that no matter what kind of day you had, certain comics can just look at you and be like, what's up? Like, because we're live. We live our life. And just like you guys do, we put our pants on. Sometimes we don't wear pants, one leg at a time. And then eventually you have a show at, 8 o'clock at night, another one at 10 o'clock at night. We all have bad weeks. We all deal with mental health. We all deal with stress and anxieties and family and relationships, and we have to perform.
And you got to put all that vulnerability on stage too, which is the best comedy, right? Is all that shit you're dealing with and everyone else is dealing with. Put it in the mic, and somehow that's healing.
It is. Comedy's healing, and that's, with this whole thing going on, being unable to perform, I've had to really adapt and pivot and find other ways to get that nurturing, get that purge, as you were saying, out. And now, if you guys noticed, but I've been training like a motherfucker these last 2 years, and I've been getting it out through the gym, through the mountains, through MMA, through jiu-jitsu. And, Alavanca has kind of like changed my son's and mine life.
Yeah.
We now are just different people, so even from the Chris you met when I was comedians. 'Cause I haven't seen you for 2 years.
Yeah, that's
been
wild.
a minute.
And I fully believe that the healing element of something like this too in the community.
Yeah.
And like you said, just the release of those emotions and the discipline and all those things. Yeah.
And empowering
awesome.
a crowd.
Yeah.
Taking a crowd that comes in cold, and a lot of people, especially Friday shows, like work week, right? People are coming in on a Friday, and they've had tough times, and then all of a sudden they're there, like, make me laugh, buddy.
Yeah.
I got these 2-for-1 tickets, man. Fuck, let's go, bud. Fucking Alberta, make her off. And then guess what? That's what we do. That's why we've had pretty cool careers. So now here you are in Peru. You had the frog. You've had your first journey to the ayahuasca. You're talking to Mother Ayahuasca. You're wondering, did I waste my money? Am I really feeling the effects of this stuff? You're questioning yourself. So obviously, like you're grounding yourself. You're meditating with Juan, who now glows in the dark, you found out.
Yeah.
And this is day what?
That's day 2. We do all the things in the morning.
So ayahuasca's first?
Yeah, Monday it's ayahuasca. So I came in the Sunday, just chilled. You have the option.
Nice.
You can also come in Monday, get right into it. So Monday was the intro one. Tuesday, Cambo, then you have 3 meals, eat dinner, and then after dinner it's just...
What'd you eat? I want to know.
Yeah, it's all plant-based. So my wife's a great cook, so she eats mostly, she's not vegan or vegetarian, but she's trained in cooking that. So then the diet was really easy going into it, where we mostly just plant-based. I had one meal a week or something, or I'd eat some chicken or something, but mostly stuck with that diet. Then out there, they have eggs, but otherwise it's just, rice, beans, did a lot of bananas, fruit. Like,
no proteins, eh?
I'm sure there's protein.
Wow. I mean, I'm a carnivore, so I'm just beans. Like,
you got egg.
You got egg?
Eggs, yeah.
How many, like someone like, me, I'd be like, well, do I get 8? Like, can I have 8 eggs?
They probably would say, yeah.
Yeah?
They probably do that. Yeah, I think that, but for this, it's like the healing of the ayahuasca comes from a plant.
Yes.
So they're just like for a week, take it off.
I understand.
And I really think that helped me. Like the first time I ate meat, because I love meat too.
Yeah.
But the first time I ate it, I was like, oh yeah, this is a bit, like I can feel it kind of coming back in. But I dug the plant diet out there. I was living the life. Like, it felt good. And you kind of, the Amazon, it's like the heartbeat of nature in a way. Like, it's alive.
Did you feel Mother Earth?
Yeah, man, especially when you're doing the ayahuasca.
No
you
way.
can get in on that. Oh yeah. And it's
the vibrations?
Yeah, the whole thing, and just like every square inch is like bugs, like there's just life, stuff's happening, it's just so alive, the sounds, there's nothing like it here that, going in the nature's awesome here too. But
It's pretty quiet out here now.
I know.
It's weird. I don't know what's going on, as most of you know, and
it's a pandemic. There's a global pandemic.
Yeah, they're in shutdown. So
Yeah,
all wildlife are shutting down, waiting for their QR code right now before they can come back to work. And grizzly bears were spotted in southwest Calgary. Do you see that?
Oh shit.
Yeah, a mother I think, and her younger cub, but it was pretty full grown. They just boogieing down like
you
one of the.
Put on your tank top. You're like, let's go.
Yeah. Where are they, brothers? Like, just fucking spreading. Roar! Yeah.
Yeah. So it's in that
Plant-based.
in the jungle. So yeah, diet, everything. So day 2, you just chill. A lot of time to think. So I'm reading books, but there's stuff that was in my meditations now in these books, and I'm like, okay, I got to meditate like this. The stillness of mind things. I can go like at 30 seconds, and I'm already like in thoughts of So I'm trying to work on that all night. Juan showed me a few breathing exercises.
What's a breathing exercise you learned?
Like just how to breathe to meditate. So it's like even where he's like, when you inhale, your stomach goes out. And then, like it's the opposite. Yeah, the diaphragm. And that same thing. Concentrate on your breath. Hold the seconds and find that as center. And I've done a lot of meditation training and things since then. So I'm learning more about it.
I just meditated.
Oh, you did it that quick.
I astral projected and just came back.
Yeah, I can't do that shit yet.
You will.
Okay.
Yeah. We got to hike.
That's where I want to get to.
Yeah.
Where you could just mid-podcast take a break. But I find the days now that I don't, because I'm not drinking coffee, but if I just get up, meditate, it's like, just starts my day.
It's as simple as a breath.
Yeah.
Just.
And it gives your body and your mind time to have those thoughts that you're pushing down, so that's supposed to be that thing where you just let them, equanimity, I think it is. You let it go past you, nothing phases you.
What's one thought when you're there? What's the one thought that you're like, man, I just gotta suppress? Like, what did you suppress? If there's one thought that kept kind of, you're like, not now.
Yeah, I think so. I think that was the theme of the whole thing. So then we go into day 3, which is the second ceremony. So same thing, eat breakfast, eat lunch, some rape and all that, and intentions, and then do the ceremony. So it's all starting up. They do the whole thing, and then right before you take the shot, somebody comes in and they get the shaman. Like somebody's here to see you. So then right then again too, I was like, whoa, who the hell's that? Like, who's coming in? Because it was weird, right? I'm like, man, are people robbing this place or just like, yeah.
So you didn't get comfortable?
No, I was kind of freaking out, and then the shamanita comes and sits with me, and she has a translator app, and then I was like, who are those people? And she's like, are you scared? I like laughing at me, and I was like, a little bit, but I was like, who are they? And she's like, oh, it's just some people that want to do a ceremony. She's like, they obviously can't come do this one, but maybe Friday they'll say. So
did they just bombard the property?
I guess I don't even know how they found it, like, cause if I didn't have a guide, I would never have found it, but somehow they got there. But I guess they ended up staying, and there was a Romanian father and son, so I met them. But just for the vibes, I was kind of like, what the hell? And then, because I just kind of liked when it was me and Juan. It was really safe. We had this little family now with the...
So you felt intruded upon?
A little bit, yeah. So I was kind of freaking out. And then the shamanita just, I was like, any advice for me? She's like, no. She's like, your best work in life is ahead of you. So she's like, just relax, have fun. So you're gonna be fine. So I'm like, okay. And that's what they say, to go into, just go in with an open mind. Be open to whatever's coming at you. So then we go in, do the shot finally, lay down. And this was the full dose, though, so I'm looking at the thing, and then like the second he started playing, and it was his birthday Tuesday, so he kind of played us some songs. And I remember at one point he's singing a song, and the shamanita was translating some stuff he was saying, and then we were just having a conversation back and forth. And then she sends me this long text, and she's just like, I love you. I love everything about you. You're beautiful. And I was like, oh, man, like this is like, do I have to leave now? But then then she's like, it's the lyrics. Because that's what the guy was saying. I was like, oh, shit. I'm like such a narcissist.
He's taking it. It was like, this is your farewell text.
Yeah,
this is our breakup text.
Yeah, I know.
It's not you, it's me.
Dude, your wife's hitting on me. No, but just so dumb. So then she's super sweet. So then,
did your wife join you?
No, my wife wasn't there. Yeah, this was the shaman's wife that was doing that. Yeah,
I was at your wedding dinner.
Yeah.
At the Guild.
Yeah. That was fun.
Yeah. See, that was the last time I saw you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wild.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful woman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very kind.
Gorgeous.
Very nice.
Yeah.
She took time. She sat with me, which is, like people tend not to sit with me. It's like sitting with a pit bull. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you never know, right? I'm excitable. But she was so kind, sat down, asked me like 10 questions about my life. And we BS'd a little bit. And I'm like, man, you're awesome. Sat back down. I'm like, nice wife.
Yeah, she's super cool.
She's cool, bro.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Fun. So she let me go do when I met her, because we got married real quick. But I was like, 2 things. One, she's a comic too. So I was like, don't guilt me about going on the road. She's like, I never would. She's like, I do the same thing. And I was like, 2, I'm going to do ayahuasca as soon as I can. And which was going to be right after we got married, but then COVID shut it all down.
Yeah.
So I saw this little window, and I just went, and it worked out. So I do the shot, lay down, and so the shaman had played this new song for us Tuesday, and we was just singing, and we were sitting around. And he opens with that, and the second he plays the guitar, like everything starts dancing, like the whole ceiling. And now I'm like, because he said his job is to invite the spirits. He doesn't do anything beyond just sing and usually try to get good spirits to come out, and each one's different. And so this time it's vibing. I'm like, well, man, I close my eyes. Now it's like, they're like, welcome to the world. And everyone, dude, it was like, because at first it started, and it's like the negativity starts again, and I'm like, oh man, it's really going into it, and it kind of manifested. I could see this like gremlin on my, like where it was blocking the chakras before, like on my head, or if that's what it was, but it was showing me that. It was like literally like, see this negativity, your self-doubt, and then it's like one thing you have to work with, like be confident, because people like confidence. If you're good at something and you work hard at it, show the world that. And I was like, well, it's important to be humble. I'm like arguing with Mother Ayahuasca. She's like, yeah, humble, you're fine. You have that quality.
It's the comic nature.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, if you're good at something, show the world. Like, people need to know. And so it's kind of like, oh, okay, cool. Like, which is funny, because usually they say ayahuasca breaks down the ego, but in this one, it was almost like it was trying to pump me up.
Because that's what you needed.
Maybe, yeah. And I'm like, okay, cool. And it's like, but all that self-doubt, all this stuff, and they're like, you're doing great in life. Like, you've got this job, you're doing well in comedy, you got a great wife. Like got amazing friends. You're
You
doing
do.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I love.
True.
And I do love my life. So I'm like, okay, things aren't too bad. But then it showed me this thing, and then the purging starts. Like I just feel like, I don't feel sick, like I'm gonna puke, but I know I'm gonna purge. And I'm like, whoa. And I'm kind of fighting it, and then, she's like, fight it all you want, it's happening. And then the guy's playing the music, and at one point my chest just starts heaving, like, whoa, and I'm like, whoa, it's happening.
Oh.
So, yeah, you have a little bucket, but I just sprinted to the toilet right when I got there, and I was like, whoa, like just the deepest noise I've ever made. It was like, whoa, like just, nothing came out though. It was like, spiritually though, that gremlin and all that negativity took that and it threw, I saw it like they took it all the way back to like the Big Bang. It went through space to the beginning of time. And it's like, we cast it as far away as it goes. So it's like, it's gone for now. It'll be back. It always comes back, but it's gone for now. And then I just felt incredible, like like I felt warm, the best I've ever felt, like just incredible, like Nirvana almost-esque. And then I walk out, I lay down, and Juan's still kind of struggling. He's like, he's farting and burping, and I want to be like, dude, get it out, man. Come to this world. Like, this is the good time. So then I close my eyes, and now it's like in full see it, like bright lights. It was like Vegas, like Dubai, like some places I've been where it's just like, light up, fun. Like everyone's giving me gifts. Like there's like these dog-looking creatures, but like I don't know what they were. Like, and they're like, here you go, like all kind of Aztec theme, which is interesting, because that's where it all comes from and or originates.
Nice.
So I'm kind of going up this cat, and it's, I'm seeing comics, I'm seeing people I know, and then she's kind of like, you're an ambassador of good times. Like, you bring happiness to the world. Show me comedy is healing, and you can see, like, the crowd's laughing, and then it's like, keep doing that. Keep building this. Make it bigger. Make people laugh more. So I'm like, all right, and I kind of get to the top, then I look in the sky, and it's like, I just see, like, all of space, but all of nature, everything, and then it goes into, like, the triangle with the eye in it. It's like, and it's like, hello, like, Chris, I'm, like, it just kind of said it was God without saying that. It's like, I'm everything, I'm the universe. And I'm like, holy fuck. And then I was like, it's like, we've been waiting for you. Like, you took this serious, like, the whole thing, the diet and everything. But not only that, she showed me all these times in life where it's like, you made the hard choice because, like, I worked through university. All these, like, things I did where it's like, you've done that. And, like, times where you've been selfless or sacrificed to help people. And it's like, we've been waiting for you to come here. And she's like, I'm going to give you all the power, but you have to promise to use it for good. And I was like, a promise, okay. And then it just, like, the eye thing went into, like, my forehead, and it was like, then my, it was like, lights up. This is the part where I sounded, like, I feel insane telling it, but it's for real, like, this is what happened.
No better place to share it.
I know, yeah, I know. So I'm like, holy shit, and I just lay back, and then she's like, yeah, this is always inside of you now. I'm always here, but, and then, the ceremony, I just, like, jammed, vibed out. It was the best time, and then the shaman and the shamanita, I don't know why, like, but this ceremony ended, they just pulled their mats in the middle with us, and the shaman's kind of playing guitar. I'm still, like, high as hell. Like,
tell me the high. I'm curious, because you've done mushrooms.
Yeah.
So maybe if you could just kind of comparatively give a description of that high to mushrooms, like if there was like an analogy or some sort of similarity that we can maybe, process.
Yeah, I think it's similar, like mushrooms, LSD, with your eyes are open, but a little bit more visually intensive, I think.
Oh.
But then with your eyes closed, and I've had times in mushrooms where I've, like, had especially if we do more, like, I've had some decent trips and some stuff, but mushrooms is kind of, sometimes the trips are just randoms, and you're not really in control, weirdly.
Yeah.
This one, I wasn't in control, but I just felt it was a universe, like, I'm in a world. Like, it's like the visions, and the first time it wasn't that strong, but the second one, I was like, oh, this is, like, I can fully see this.
So very psychedelic.
Yeah, really psychedelic, really. Like the first one was a bit scary, a little bit, because I'm like, I don't know this world. Second one was very kind, very like, hey, welcome, we've been waiting for you, you deserve this. So I was just like, yeah, like, just,
Yeah.
Like, it showed me at one point I had this, like, golden armor on. I was just like, yeah, like, it was pumping me up, like, so much. So after the shamanita came and she had her app, she's like, how was it? And I was like, man, it was incredible. Like, I don't want to be arrogant, but, like, I talked to Mother Ayahuasca. She was super kind and nice, and she gave me she's like, I'll give you all my powers. And then she was like, oh, and I was like, and I saw, and then she goes like, did you see this? And she shows me this eye with the triangle with the eye in it. And I was like, yeah, a picture. Yeah, this thing. And that was my vision too. But exactly how I saw it. Like, even with the background and everything, I was like, that, and I was like, this was like what? And then she was like, yeah. And she, like, talked to the shaman, being like, I told you, like this is, she's like, I saw that happen. Wow. And then she's like, you're two people. And she kind of went through this thing where it's like, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like a Gemini. And I also went to a counselor once. It was like, oh, you're perfectly two archetypes, which is very rare. Like some people are usually just one thing, which he's like, but that's like kind of the, where I have this like corporate world, but I'm also in the comedy life where it's like, I can kind of hang out with like the, nerdier comics, but also the cool, like, it's like, she's like, you're always in two worlds. So she's like, you can go to this world. It was wild. So I'm like, holy shit. So the shamanita is super cool. I go back, I feel a little more calm, go to my room, then I like go in, use the toilet, come back out, and I'm like, I should brush my teeth before I because you're still tripping when you're back. But I'm like, when I left too, I said goodbye to Juan, and I look at the skies. It's like, look at the stars, and they all just start like dancing, and they kind of arrange, and it's like.
So what were the stars like? So here you are in Peru, you're in the rainforest, you've purged, you feel the best you've ever felt.
Yeah.
And now you're like coming down, and you brush your teeth, and you look up, you see stars. Now, when I'm in the mountains at night, I get they're right there, especially in British Columbia. They even feel closer to you. Now, what about in that part of the world? Like, what were that's a different way. You can't see the stars like that from where we are, so you saw a different perspective of them. Did they shine differently? Did they appear different?
I mean, and it's like, it's unreal how many, with no light pollution, like it's just what you probably see with your way out there too. It's just insane, right? So it's so many stars. But I think with the drugs too, they're like dancing. And like, because I looked at them, it was gorgeous too, just on a normal night, like the other nights. But this one, it was like, and they're kind of, really, it was just like so comforting and so cool. And I was like, man, like you could probably look at them for hours, but there's so much going on. You're kind of like, so it's a little trippy. But yeah, go to the bathroom, come out, and I'm like, oh, I should brush my teeth in my hut. And I go to walk back, and the bathroom has like it's like the two wooden doors, and there's like this little curtain at the top, and then like floating on it is like a scorpion. Oh. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, is that real? Am I tripping? And I like pull my flashlight, and I've got like a candle, and I'm like, I'm like, is this real or not? And it's like almost in 4D with like a stinger being like, ooh, like, when you watch a movie in the theater. So and I'm like, what is this shit, man? I just stared at it for like an hour. Whoa. And then I recorded it on my phone, and then I watched it. I'm like, no, that's a real. I'm like, how's it floating there? Like, how's it like? Has it got a web? Like, what the fuck? Wow. And then I was like, what is this? And Mother Ayahuasca's like, oh, it's friendly. Like, it's here to see you. And I was like, yeah, okay. Then she's like, it'll protect you. And I'm like, from what, man? And I was like, she's like, just say hello. And then I was like, hello, Scorpion. Like, I'm terrified of you and your stinger. Please, God, don't sting me. So then I was just like freaked out. So I tucked like the mosquito net in. There's a blanket there, but it's 26, 36 degrees Celsius, so like 100 degrees or whatever. I like tucked the blankets thick all around me. Dude, I woke up in like an hour pouring sweat, but I didn't. It's like a mattress. It's like a plastic rubber thing, so it's not. But yeah,
it's a hiking mat.
Yeah, but I just didn't take the blanket off. I was so scared I was just gonna crawl over, sting me, and I'm just like this, shriveled up corpse in the morning, and they're like, just throw me in the river.
That's reasonable though. I mean, like if you're from Canada and there's scorpions hanging from your net, and like you're like, holy fuck, like whether you're tripping balls or not, like I mean, I've done a fair bit of acid in my day and mushrooms and all psychedelics, to be honest.
You're like, I'm on them right now.
Yeah. It's just, yeah, but it's true. Like, when you are in that state and you are enjoying the psychedelics and the visual journey that you're on, like you're right. Like the things that would be terrifying to you in your sober state, like, and you'd overthink it, you'd be overly critical of what it is, you'd be reassessing it constantly and assessing for danger. But usually in that state, like when I'm in the mountains and I'm usually on mushrooms and medicine. It
is medicine.
I recently was at Larch Valley, Lake Louise, which is the most beautiful hike in the world during October and September.
Is it a tough one? Or?
No. It's pretty easy. It's quite nice, actually. Not easy, but easy enough.
Yeah.
And I'm there for the view. I usually go on a weekday morning or late night, and then there's nobody there. And awesome. So there I was, and had my jet boil, and I was making tea and having a snack, and I look up, and there's a deer within like 10 feet of me, just,
Yeah.
But it was very alien-like, the size of its eyes,
right,
and the vibration and the energy that was coming from this deer. And I can feel it speaking to me.
Right.
And this deer wasn't like interested or curious. It literally came to say, hi. Like, and then I look up, and then it tilted its head like, look, and it was so vague. It was just like this, just a nod, an eye twitch. And I look, and there was 2 bucks.
Oh.
Right there. One had at least 6 points. The other one had maybe 5, or maybe they were both 6-point bucks, which is the tips. All the tips counted. And they were good size. And they were just staring at me, but they weren't staring at me aggressively or scared. They're just like, you're okay.
Okay, dude.
Yeah, but because of the medicine, right, I was able to project my energy as they projected theirs onto me. And then the little one just kind of looked at me for a minute more and was like, okay, and went, and they started to graze. and I'm having my tea, and they're less than 30. I have it on video. They're less than 30 feet from me, maybe like 20 feet.
Wow.
And they just kind of stayed, and they'd gaze at me. I'd nod at them. They would nod back. I'm like, okay, these are really good mushrooms, or I'm just connected spiritually to these animals.
Yeah.
And I understand when you say things, like I don't understand ayahuasca, and I've never been to a jungle, but I do know that there is a universal spiritual connection to all living life.
Yeah, absolutely. There is.
And
I could see, like I could feel this
But
time, yeah.
I can feel, but here's the thing, I can feel the energy that you brought back. In fact, it's very calming and healing because I've had a traumatic day today, and I had to, just like comedy, I had to pull it together, get ready, put my face on to perform and host the show and be able to sit here. And I'm working now on listening because I feel that the guest is obviously, of course, the star of the show, but it's also not for me to engage and to communicate. It's for you to share and for the listeners to explore and to experience a new energy and a new story, a new journey. However, as you share the details from your trip, that energy is just reciprocating. Like I'm literally taking it in, and I can feel whatever you brought back, and it is really positive. I mean, it is really healing.
Yeah.
So whatever you're about to embark upon and whatever direction your life is going, I feel like you have brought back some sort of positive, protective energy that at the same time protects you, keeps you positive, but heals others in your circle.
Oh, that's good.
And
Maybe you've got some of these powers too, man.
You know, I've always said that we're here to serve, you know? We should focus on what serves us, but we should also be ensuring that we're giving back, constantly giving back, always sharing knowledge, sharing love, sharing our time, our interest, but not depleting your cup. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Not serving to the point where your cup is always empty and you're working from a deficit. It's always good to maintain a little energy in that cup. But sometimes we both know too much energy, it's not even good to have. Like it's anxiety, it's stress, it's overthinking. It's like that, at bed, and you're feeling that. That's too much energy. Yeah. That means we didn't give enough back. We didn't give that input back and share enough. Now it's remunerating and it's bouncing all around, and this is where it goes. It all goes up. And that's where the critical thinking and the overthinking and the self-doubt. And that's where the ego is like, let's get some of this and let's kind of create that negativity. But you sitting here, I'm telling you, it's like, I don't know, it's like a smudge. It's like I feel like I've been cleansed.
Good.
I appreciate that,
Glad
brother.
you're cleansed, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think
how did it end? So you had the third heavy one where you saw the scorpion.
Yeah. So I see the scorpion, sleep, wake up. But I was like, man, if that was the end of it, because I was like, I want to get all the money I ever get in life. I'm going to pay to bring all my friends. Everyone's going to do this, because it was so cool, and it was so reaffirming of just the goodness, and because life is kind of simple in that sense, where it's like be kind to people. But I mean, humanity fucks that up big time. But if it could just do that, it would be fine. But it won't. Long term, that's always the battle. So I was like, oh my God, it felt amazing the day after. It felt so good. Then, the second day we meet the Romanian father and son. They both speak English and Spanish, which was awesome because now they can translate from Juan. So I learned a lot about him. They did Percy's sermons, while he was just hanging out, taught us a lot of stories and with a shaman. And he was even saying, he learned how to be a shaman because his uncle put him in the woods, in the Amazon when he was 14, did ayahuasca when he was 14 and just kept going. And then when his grandpa passed away, and he started doing his own ceremonies, and he would talk to people after, and he'd be like, "How was it?" And he'd be like, "Yeah, I saw some stuff." But then he said he was sitting with his kid. His second kid was born blind, and this kid was watching TV, and he's like, "Dad, I wish I could see. I want to see the cartoon characters." And then he just waved his hand over the kid's head, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And his dad, the shaman, was like, "You can see in ways other people can't. How did you know I'm doing this kind of thing?" And he's like, that's when it clued into me of how I have to run my sermons and my shaman experiences and the ceremonies. So he's like, I got to bring the spirits. And he's like, once I kind of learned that lesson that you're seeing in a different way without seeing and tapping into all the spiritual elements, he's like, then people started taking off. So I don't know on that Wednesday if he was just killing it because it was his birthday, but my God, it was the best vibes. Wow. So then, so the Romanian guy's here. And it was funny, the father, he showed up for the bath ceremony before where you jump in the river, before the ceremony, the third one, which would be his first, wearing a little hat. And he's like, oh, they call me the Romanian with the little hat. And he's loud and he wasn't that loud at dinner. But then I was like, oh, this guy's drunk. Like, he's had a few drinks, but I was like, I hope but it's fine. Like, they're gonna give him that little dose, and everyone will have their own experience. It's not gonna show you, I think. Like,
Was he a big guy, little guy?
Yeah, it's like a big dude. But it was funny. He's like, how much kilos do you weigh? Which I don't know.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. He's like, we're the same size. I was like, dude, we're not at all. Like, you got like 50 pounds on me.
Yeah.
But it was just funny.
Romanians are big people.
Yeah, he's a big, and the son was so sweet, and he was taking it really serious too. And he was, I think, he
How old
probably
was the son?
25, I guess, maybe 22. Like, young kid, super cool, and he really helped translate too. And so going that, and then the Thursday too, I remember the dinner before the Friday ceremony. I forgot my flashlight, and Juan's like, oh, I'll walk you back, and he had this like wrist flashlight, and he takes it off and he puts it on his head, and I was like, oh, that's a good idea. But then I realized when I saw him as like this god, he was just wearing a head flashlight when I was tripping. So I was like, oh fuck, this guy's not like the craziest dude. So that was funny. And then so we do the Friday one. Now I'm all geared up, but they put the mats at the back. You know, we're not in the center anymore because there's 4 of us. We do the thing, start singing, and then it was like a different vibe immediately. It was like much sort of, not darker in a scary way, but like sort of purple, like just earthier. But they say it's sort of the masculine world is like kind of the light and above ground, and then the feminine world, you know, traditionally, at least that's what the shaman told me, is like underground, and it's more like emotions and digging into that kind of stuff.
Tell me about it.
I know. I want to live in the other world.
Yeah.
So it's like really getting in, and shows me that negativity again, and really just like the worst thoughts I've had of myself, or even other people where you're jealous or envious, and it was like, look at all this negative shit it does, and they're showing me that, and then, dude, for like hours, dude, like my eyes, not crying, but just watering from like just the exhaustion of it. I'm like laying there and I'm like cold, like shivering, probably like an hour or two, and then can feel the purge.
Sounds like a relationship.
Yeah, I know.
Just saying.
Maybe not the best relationship, yeah, but like, oh my God. But then I'm excited now for the purge because I'm like, I can't wait to get this out. And it shows me it goes through thought, it'll show me things in my life. Think of it negatively, think it positively. And it's like way better, obviously, to go the second route. Do that, and then I'm like, here comes the purge. I run to the toilet. This time I actually do puke a little bit, which is rare for me. I was like, oh man. But the thing didn't come out, and I was like waiting, and I'm like, God, it's still there. And then they're like, you really gotta dig deep. So I'm going through. I go lay down again. 20 minutes, even colder, feel worse, to the point where I'm like, man, this is too much. Like, this is wild.
What was
like,
too much?
The thoughts and the negativity and like the sort of introspection and like the just the overwhelming, because it's my thoughts.
Borderline bad trip.
Yeah, it's in bad trip territory, but where it's like, this is my thought. So I'm like, it's my inner monologue, but just magnified and kind of, so I'm like, oh my God. So then I go back for the second one. The shamanita's holding the bathroom door for me, like she knew. So I go back, like almost puke, doesn't come out, and I can kind of see this like the last time when it was cast, you know, way down, came out so easy. This time they showed me, and it's kind of like entwined deep down. It's like, no, this is in you. Like, this is, you have to do this work to untangle this. So I'm like, oh my God. And then I'm trying to make myself puke. Nothing's happening. So I go lay down, and there's a bucket beside you. So I'm like, if it happens again, I'm just going to puke. Because it's hard to walk when you're tripping. You're like, oh,
trust me, I feel
the
it.
flashlight. Yeah. It's like, so then, plus you don't want to interrupt other people's, whatever they're doing. So then, and I could, like, the shamanita would talk sometimes with the shaman between songs, and I thought they were like, this guy sucks. Remember, he was killing it Wednesday, now he's bombing. He's like, why is his energy so shit? He's ruining it for everyone. And I'm like, God, I'm the worst. And then all those thoughts, and then eventually they show, Mother Ayahuasca shows me, and she's like, this is what you got to work on. I'm like, okay, I get it. She's like, you're not gonna be able to purge it out this time, but that's your job. That's what you got to work on. Got it? And I was like, okay, can we go back to the good times? Like, yeah. And then it just kind of all melted away. Yeah. And then I was like, back in the world. She's like, this is the world you live in now. This is you're always here. I'm part of you. And it was cool. It was like chill again. It was comfortable, but it was still like this kind of darker world. And I could just see her sort of as like all the stars and everything. And then she's just like, then she started, and she kind of took me through every relationship I've been in, and like how the ones where I went in like more wholeheartedly and whatever ended well or ended better, and then how, that I have to do that in life. And that was it was like a slideshow of memories I couldn't believe. Like, I was like, oh my God, like it was just wild. And it kind of went through that. And then after, she was just like, ask me any questions. So I was like, what's the secret to life? And showed me like times where I was just laughing, having a good time with friends, and like these moments, this is really creating these, being good to others, like this is what it is. And then, like, it was funny when I was like, what's true love? And then Juan just rips the biggest fart. He's like, oh, it sounded like he shit himself to the point where like the gods were like, laughing. And she's like, that's one definition. But she's like, no, it is just like finding somebody who not only, completes you, but like that you bounce, like, you multiply your energy together exponentially, and just
I'm just thinking about the fart.
I know, dude, I couldn't stop thinking, and he was really farting a lot, where I was like, man, Ron, like, you're dying here.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what he was trying to fight, but
Is this all like in a teepee?
Yeah, it's like a huge wooden, beautiful, like ceremonial hut thing. yeah, and then that one ended, and then they're just like, okay, ceremony's over, no hangout, and just, hug them goodbye. Went back to my hut, but then the sky was cool again. The jungle was still like but I was just like in it, like nothing scared me anymore, and I just kind of like walked back very zen, and just kind of laid down, had just more thoughts, and talked to Mother Ayahuasca, and I was kind of like, I don't want to leave, and she's like, oh, you don't have to, you're always here, but you have to go work on your life and go back, and then that was kind of it, just like walked out, and that's like where I'm at now. So weirdly, but I found since I've come back, like I just, things bother me less. I'm a little more grounded, and like I've kind of just got this weird direction that, is like otherworldly, I feel. Just being like, just keep doing what you're doing, move forward, try to do good things, and just like bring all these skills I've worked on and developed over the years, just bring them to fruition. So it's kind of like its own thing,
And then not only are you back, but you were just here. And I was going to take you hiking. We never got a chance to.
Yeah.
And I randomly discovered that you're here again. This time, I got hold of you.
Yeah.
And you're on the show.
Couple hours
and
later,
I had no idea that, because not everything comes up. Like, you follow people on social media.
This was last minute. I haven't even posted. Like, it was like a cancellation.
Yeah.
It was like a last minute thing. Yeah.
And so that's the thing, right? Like, people expect you kind of to know, or hey, I posted this. Like, no, you don't get to see everybody's stuff.
Yeah.
And
not when you have 10,000 followers. Dude.
Wow, hey, take it easy. Take it easy. It only took me 15 years to get there. But, and then, spiritually, like I think about the connection and the journey, and here you are. Right?
Yeah.
And with somebody that totally understands what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I get it, because I have been, using medicine, psychedelic medicine, since I was 14 years old.
Right.
And I have not stopped taking these journeys.
I think the world would be a much better place if everyone kind of checked in with that once a year type thing.
Well, that's like the psilocybin's becoming legalized eventually. Like mushrooms
in
will be
Vancouver
legalized.
it is. You could just buy it in the store now.
Yeah. I remember when it was like, man, I can't even say who, but one of our mutual buddies, he's about 5'2", grabbed a handful of some stuff off me, and he's like, yo, amigo, I had so much fun, and he had like such a great time. And I made sure of that, because people do, they ask me to help them with medicines and journeys, and I provide the journey. My favorite, and it's tough to get people to be, on the journey with me, because people are in a strange time right now. I love taking people on guided journeys to the mountains, where we share the medicine, and I take them on a hike. And the first part of the hike is quite grueling. I take people on certain hikes where the first 2 to 3K are tough.
Yeah.
And that's where the tough parts of the journey. And trust me, I've looked back down the trail, and I've seen the gremlin in their faces, in their bodies, right? But I've also seen when they got to the top.
Yeah.
And then they stabilized and hydrated and had a snack, and I saw the clarity, I saw the peace.
Yeah.
And I saw the love. And, a lot of times, people break down, they cry, they confess, whatever it is. And, I'm just some old Guido from Thunder Bay, but deep down inside, I'm from another life or another time.
Right.
I definitely did some sort of journeys, and was an old wise man at some point. And, when I'm sitting here with you now, looking at your Ultimate Warrior socks on the table. He's got Ultimate Warrior socks on, by the way. And I just have to say, like, if ayahuasca is the medicine society needs right now, then so be it, because I can feel it. Same as Noor. Like when he took it, Noor Kidwai, like when he took it, same thing. He came back, he changed. He changed how he dressed. He changed how he presented himself. His confidence was different. His comedy changed. His demeanor changed. He was like a new dude.
Yeah.
And now when I see him, I'm almost like, like I just want to, I want to with him.
Yeah.
And that's the energy I'm feeling from you.
Yeah, I think it is. And people have asked me, like, should I go? And I've already, some people are going. That
Who out of our network, like comedians, was like,
oh, I don't know if I want to. There's one guy, I'll tell you after. Let's go. Yeah, I don't know if maybe it's his own journey, but there's a couple that are thinking about it. There's one guy's full on booking it. You'll know him.
How much is it?
So it was, and
everything.
I think the price has gone up. Yeah, so it's the retreats, and that's the problem now too. If you go and look in Peru, because it is so commercialized, and they say with the ketos, it was like had a moment, because it's third world. Like when you're out there, it's like people's houses are, kind of not what we would expect, which is then I'm very grateful for everything we have here, but they had like a rubber boom or something decades ago, and then now it's rebooming again with all this money from tech people and rich people coming through to do this drug. So I was looking at some resorts, and there's like, we got Wi-Fi, we got a gym, we got that, and it's like, you do it with like 200 people in a hut. Yeah,
it's a rave.
Yeah, so I know. So, and I've heard good experiences of that too, but it's like 3,000 US.
Not my vibe.
Yeah, this guy.
I want the jungle.
Yeah, this one was full on, and you get all your meals and everything. So it was 600 US. I think now the prices I looked was 850 US.
850 US for what you did.
Yeah.
Plus
so
flight.
I don't know if it's a time of year thing because it's more popular time of year. And then the flight was 1,000 exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, get in there.
Bro, trust me, this Hungarian masterpiece of the lens can afford to go. And you have all the things you need to go, bro.
Yeah.
You, sir, are ayahuasca material.
Well, LaBelle, you got to get it. It'll change your life. But then I think if you go, the only advice I have to people is do the prep for it. Just take it serious. Just eat plant food for even a week before. They even recommend 3 days. But
No coffee and plant food.
Yeah, I mean, you could even drink coffee, but they say that 24 hours before, cut it all out. When you're out there, they don't have coffee. They'll give you tea, so you could bring your own, but I just wouldn't.
Yeah.
Just live the life. Cut out coffee like 3-4 days before, just so it's out of your system. Because that anxiety and that mindset, you don't need it in where you're going in the trip. And then just take it serious. And I think if you're looking for some direction, it probably won't show you exactly the thing you were thinking it was going to show you, but it will just kind of just gently be like, yeah, here you go. And in the times, as crazy as it was, like in my memories of it, is very gentle, very healing. Even though I think it'll just take you as far as you can go. Like
How much is the flight?
1,000 Canadian. So it's 1,000
You're
Canadian.
like, do you have 1,000 Canadian? So basically, this trip was about 2,500 Canadian.
Yeah, I think they upped the price. So it was 850 US when I looked on the website for this other guy. So I don't know. If, like
the
I said,
guy you went to though. I want to go where you
yeah,
went.
so
That's where Nor went.
Mine, yeah, it was 600 US when I went,
Gotta
but
keep
now
it
it's 850 on the.
That's fair.
But I don't know if it's a seasonal because it's more popular time, or if you just
what's
jacked up.
850?
Yeah.
To change your life.
Yeah, so I think the whole thing for me was under 2,000 Canadian, like all in. And I stayed an extra night in Iquitos at the nicest hotel, which was $100 a night. It's like the Hilton. They're all like, "Oh, you're staying there," and it was from our standards, it was okay, but it was good, and especially after a week in the jungle, and because you have to do the COVID test, so like the 24-hour test to get back. So
I have basically till November 30th to maybe do this, because I just need my what's it called? The rapid testing.
Yeah.
I could do with the rapid testing.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, subscribers, make sure that you support local business by liking, subscribing, sharing, and telling your friends. This is my friend, Chris Griffin. I didn't let him close properly just now because I'm inspired to motivate you to hire LK and I to shoot a commercial and help brand your business so I can go on an ayahuasca journey and potentially become the mature adult that I should be in life. Somebody that can responsibly drive, because I don't have a license, but drive. And these kind of things need to end. I want to be in a position where if you're not stable as a human being, it's really tough to help other people, is what it kind of comes down to. So sitting here today with you, I'm motivated.
Good.
I'm inspired. And you reminded me of why we do comedy. It is to heal others. It's not as self-serving as maybe some other people might be as entertainers.
Right.
But you and I are very similar in nature when it comes to heart. Like we appreciate the same things.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts before you leave, before we close this show? Really appreciate you sharing that journey.
Man.
That is so amazing. And if you get a chance and you see Chris Griffin traveling through Canada at one of your comedy clubs, you have to go. When he talked about vulnerability on stage, that's what comedy's about. Vulnerability. A comedian that can take his life, turn it into comedy, share his views and opinions and, funny life stories, and take you from a mood which is probably neutral because you don't know what's going to happen in a comedy club. Are they going to be funny? How long is this going to be? Where's my waitress? Like, are you there to get hammered? Like, what are you there for? But when you see a comic like this, right? Northeast Calgary guy, there's something about it when a guy's giving it his all, when a guy who's not given up on his dream and still continues after the 10-year period. That's what you want to see. You want to see it because that's where the real comics, like Bill Burr didn't pop off till he was in his 17th, 15th, 16th, 17th year of comedy. The guy was about to retire. He's like, I'm done. I've gone as far as I can go. And he literally I don't know for sure, like the actual exact story, but I know the reference is that nearly at the end of what he thought was his career, he's like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Blows up.
Yeah, the Philly thing went viral. Yeah. He popped, and now he's playing the stadium in Vancouver.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, insane.
And that's comedy. There's no expiration date. There's no expiration date. George Carlin was well into his 50s when he was like the most pinnacle moment of his career, where he was the most influential. And I feel like our journey is only beginning.
Yeah, if you just put your heart into it, yeah.
100%.
Yeah, that's what's good about comedy is, I mean, it isn't limited by age. I mean, there's certain types of comedy, and you change as a person.
You have to evolve.
Yeah, you should change
Evolve
with
with
who
the
you
times.
are. But yeah, it's a beautiful art form, I think. Yeah.
My G. So would you say no booze, no coffee, clean eating, healthy mind made a difference for you?
Yeah, I'm still off the booze. Like I haven't had it since ayahuasca. I haven't really like felt, the need to it. But I even asked Mother Ayahuasca, I'm like, should I just not drink? And she's like, yeah, like if you can have a drink or two, it's an okay place to be, but don't like just take it or leave it. So I've had no feelings to drink since I've been back. Like I'm just kind of enjoying, and I can feel life starting to build up, like the pressures and stuff. So I want to go back right away, but I know I'm not supposed to. I got to do some work. So I'll wait like a year and I'll go right back there and kind of. I think I'll be able to show a lot of progress. And the thing without the drinking is, the hangovers when you're older, just how productive I am in the day, not having to factor that in. Because, yeah, when you're doing comedy, it's just like, if you want, you can drink every night for free.
Yeah,
sometimes.
and eat.
Yeah. So
Considering that, Sterling was just here last week, and we're pretty much talking about the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, how many shows did you do for free beer and food? Like,
Yeah.
the first start of our career, like, what, a burger and beer? What? Here, man, here's another one. You're hilarious, and a shot. I'd be like, wow,
Yeah.
2 beers, a shot, and free food. I'm living it.
Yeah, exactly. I know. The game would be like, how many drinks
Dude, I'll give you
get?
$50 to come to Red Deer. You're like, I'm in.
I know.
Nah.
I know. I'd still do that. No, I'm just joking.
Actually, I probably have to do that. Yeah. I'm going to close the show now, but before I do, one last thing. If there's any life-changing wisdom that you can share with our viewers, we have 1,400 subscribers, people tune in, what would you share? If there's one life-changing piece of wisdom that you've developed over the last month, what would you share?
Yeah, I think the one thing, the one that was shown to me that I've talked about is, don't be kind to yourself. I think that's where your kindness to other people start. And as dumb as it sounds, I think if you do that and kind of pay it forward and put out good vibes, your life will start to change and it will open up. And usually if you're negative, if you're stuck in those things, it's usually fear, right? It's usually some emotion that goes way down to its kernel of fear, whether it's from your childhood or something recently. So I think, look at that. Like, where does this negativity come from? Try to find the beginning of that. But be kind to yourself when you're doing it. Don't be too hard on yourself. I know you're sometimes hard on yourself. And it's like, hey man, you're doing a lot. You're doing this, doing comedy, you're hustling always. So that's good advice, yeah. And then the healing center I went to, the ayahuasca, if you just Google, I think, the word ayahuasca and DAS, it's like, I don't know, that's how you find it. But
Ayahuasca DAS.
Google that. It's like the healing center, DAS. And
Tell him
keto.
Chris sent you.
Yeah, you can. Tell Percy. But yeah, I think if you want to go, if you're ready for healing, go do that. If you're not sure, spend some time looking on that. But while you're doing it, yeah, whoever's listening, you're probably an awesome person. You just know that, yeah. Just figure that out for each of them, and then it works from there on.
Beautiful. Thanks, bro.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me, bro.
Guys.
Hit the bar. Oh, we're still.
Yeah. I got some cocaine in my bag. Let's get back at it. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I really hope that you watch to the end. Some great life advice, great wisdom. Next week, we have another special guest coming in. I'll announce that on social media. Ooh. Thank you so much for subscribing. Make sure to share and like. It's free to do. Local business. That's how I survive. Thank you so much. Thank you, LK Visuals. And thank you to Nortec Alberta, General Contracting and Custom Homes. I really appreciate your sponsorship. And next week, we're going to be starting to unleash. I think LK and I are about to unveil one of our newest videos, our newest commercials. So stay tuned for that. Guys, I don't know what that is. I did one of those. That was weird.
That's cool.
Yeah, ciao.